Happy super full moon in Virgo. This Virgo full moon becomes exact at 1:47 p.m. New York time, which is 17:47 Greenwich Mean Time on Monday, March 9th. A supermoon happens when the moon is physically closer to the Earth than usual, thus amplifying its effects. With the Pisces sun illuminating the Virgo moon, the mental realm comes into focus. Virgo, ruled by Mercury, is associated with inner communication, thought, and detail. With Mercury stationing as it gets ready to go direct at 11:59 p.m. New York time on March 9th, all themes involved with communication are amplified. If any Mercury retrograde issues are going to occur, like wonky electronics, dropped calls, random emotional outbursts, bad psychic readings, plane delays, and much more, they're more likely to occur in the week before and after the Mercury station. So heed the classic Mercury retrograde advice and refrain from signing any new contracts, making any big decisions, or purchasing any big ticket items or electronics until after March 17th, if possible. I can tell you from experience that this Mercury retrograde, particularly for me, I've seen so many electronic issues with websites and all sorts of stuff having to do with my business and just communication issues with others. For me, I've noticed a lot going on this Mercury retrograde, and it's likely to be strongest right now with the Mercury station. And also, don't buy a car during Mercury retrograde because I did that a few years ago, and it's come with some unanticipated surprises and expenses. Although this next week is not a good time to make any big decisions because of Mercury's influence, it is an excellent time to do some planning and forward thinking. Virgo's amplification with the supermoon means that you will likely be able to find solutions through thinking much more easily than usual. There's no doubt that things seem to be getting weirder by the day on this planet we call Earth. It may seem like the coronavirus and the possibility of a worldwide economic collapse may be throwing a wrench into your dreams. This is going to be a weird year. It is. However, life will go on for the vast majority of people, and the economy of the planet will continue, though it certainly is in the process of shifting. I'm going to give my thoughts in greater detail on the coronavirus outbreak and how we should handle it at the end of this transmission, so stay tuned. With the Virgo supermoon, your mind is going to be able to be on hyper problem solving mode. This entire year of 2020 is all about getting yourself prepared physically, financially, and energetically for the rest of the decade. You should absolutely mindfully prepare for the potential weirdness that could come along if this coronavirus continues to spread exponentially over the next few months. However, it should not stop you from continuing to mold your life into what you want your dream life to be. Don't allow this worldwide event to stop your dreams from manifesting. It is an opportunity to ask yourself some difficult questions and to get a clear idea of what you really want. It's an opportunity to laugh more and practice being present. It's an opportunity to control your mind. If everyone around you is running around in fear and you're able to remain centered and continue to live life in joy, then you are embodying the exact energy that we need to create a brand new planet where we won't need to go through this crap that we're going through right now as a human race. It's a fantastic time to do some journaling or voice journaling. And here are some questions for you to ponder. What do I truly want out of this life? What do I think life wants to bring out of me at this time? What virtues would life like to bring out of me? For example, courage, commitment, perseverance, faith. Where would taking a risk this year and planning things out logically meet? What would be possible for me at that intersection? What would I like to improve about myself? And make a list. What would I like to improve about myself? If I am truly unstoppable and no one is going to stop me, What would I create if I was truly unstoppable? Improving inner dialogue. One of the most difficult aspects of the awakening journey is the challenge of mastering your mental body. In order to master this lesson, it requires a great amount of discipline and practice. Someone with little control over their mind will be able to progress spiritually in many ways, but will not be able to become nearly as happy as someone who has really learned to master their mind. With all the fear going around regarding the coronavirus, this is an especially good time to teach you how to use your mind better. When it comes to this topic, one of the most important things to understand is that thinking is not always the same mechanism. Sometimes you're actively thinking thoughts, for example, while you're logically trying to solve a problem, while other times thoughts are actually thinking you. Yeah. The reason for this is something called T fields. Let me explain. T fields are clouds of energy that are located within your energy field and in spaces, in homes, and in businesses, especially where a lot of people tend to hang out. They can even happen around different sacred sites out in nature, especially, let's say, perhaps if like a mass burial ground or something like that, you can find these T fields. T fields can be passed from person to person, kind of like a virus. This is why if you have dinner with someone, let's say, that was pretty negative, you might leave the dinner feeling kind of pessimistic yourself, whereas if you go to lunch or dinner with some really upbeat, positive people, your thoughts are going to become more positive. And there's a saying out there that you become basically the amalgamation, the aggregate is the word. You become the aggregate of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And from my experience, I don't find that to be true, at least not in all cases. However, it is something to keep in mind because the more time you spend with certain people, so think about who are the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with in your life. And some of you might say, I don't even hang out with 5 people, and that's kind of me too. I understand. If you pull the hermit card from the tarot, that's kind of me. There's not a whole lot of people that I see on a regular basis. However, if I were to, take into account those family members and friends that I do see most often, I can see how I can sometimes be influenced by these people. However, I've come to a point with my mental body and my energy body that I don't really feel taken down energetically by those people, at least not like I used to. But a lot of people aren't there yet, and they really will, without awareness, become the aggregate of the 5 people they hang out with most. So I would say more accurately, you become the aggregate of the 5 people you hang out with most when you're not aware. If you are aware and you do know how to shield yourself and control your energy and control your mind better, you're not going to become those people. However, it just might not be as exciting anymore to be with those people, and you may find a desire to be around other people. So something to keep in mind. So this is why your living environment does really matter as well. If you live with negative people, you're going to become more likely to be haunted by negative thoughts because of those T fields. And again, if you're aware living with negative people, you're going to feel it less, but you'll still be affected. You will. And if you live in a building, let's say an apartment building, for example, with a lot of dark energy, you're likewise going to be subject to more negative thoughts if you haven't, cleansed your space enough. And even if you do, you might feel it anyways when you're out and about in the hallways. If a place is haunted, for example, if an apartment building is haunted, there's a lot of those. You'll feel the T fields coming from a ghost, literally. There's a lot of haunted apartment buildings. I'm thinking of one that I was in back in the autumn when I was hanging out with a friend. They are around. So whether you know it or not, most of the time thoughts are actually thinking you and not the other way around. The more that you cleanse your energy field and do your spiritual work, you're able to let go of the subconscious patterns that were unconsciously imprinted on you by your parents or caregivers when you were between the ages of 0 and 6, when your brain was in mostly theta state, right? As you shift these subconscious patterns into more supportive subconscious patterns, naturally the resonant T fields in your aura will shift to more positive T fields. If you're then able to surround yourself with more positive people more of the time, you'll find your thoughts permanently shifting for the better. The other thing that is really important to remember when it comes to improving your inner dialogue is the breath. People who breathe shallowly most of the time tend to have not the most supportive inner dialogue, right? They breathing shallowly tends to correlate with negative thoughts, whereas someone who breathes deeply, their nervous system is going to be relaxed and their thoughts are going to be much more positive. A stressed nervous system generally produces stressed thoughts. Think about that. When you remember to breathe deeply as you're going about your day, you're likely to experience a levity in your thoughts. This is why, as I said, I recommend a daily deep breathing practice for most everyone. And another thing that I really would recommend is to do a gratitude journal. Because when you do a gratitude journal every night, even if you just write it down in your phone or do some voice journaling, but ideally is keeping a little notebook where you write down like 10 or 15 things you're grateful every night before you go to bed. And that really helps to shift your thoughts, because then after a while what you'll start to do is during the day you'll start to kind of like put a post-it note in your mind of something that happened that you're grateful for, so you can write it down later. Or you can even better just keep your kind of gratitude journal laying around the house where you can access it and walk by it a lot, and you can add things throughout the day. And if you're not willing to do a journal, then just how many times per day can you express gratitude? Because nothing brings us into coherence between our higher self and us as gratitude. With gratitude, we're merging with that higher aspect of ourself, and we're not going to be subject to the negative T fields that may be around us. We're literally transmuting those T fields, at least momentarily. We're not subject to them when we lift our vibration through our willpower to a place of gratitude. And a two-step process for getting yourself out of any spiral of negative thinking is just taking 3 nice deep breaths into the abdomen, extending the length of the exhale with each successive breath. So first breath, you might exhale 6 seconds. Second breath, 7 seconds. Third breath, 8 seconds, something like that. And then ask yourself, what can I be grateful for right now? And speak, preferably out loud, what you're grateful for. Okay? And that will pause any sort of spiral of negative thinking. If that seems like too big of a leap for you in the moment, then just distract yourself first. Find something to distract yourself with, whether it's something funny or it's some sort of messaging someone for support or something like that, or just going for a walk, whatever you can distract yourself with, and then do the deep breathing. But ideally, do the deep breathing first, because the deep breathing will automatically put you into a better state than before. So, should we fear the coronavirus or not? Should we fear it? So I'm going to give you my take on what's happening here, both on a practical and an astrological level. There's no doubt in my mind that this coronavirus is a lot worse than any of the other fear manufacturing outbreaks of the past decade, like Ebola, Zika, avian flu, SARS, etc. And I know SARS was more than a decade, right? All of these were probably spread intentionally, wink, wink. But this one has already infected a lot more people than those previous diseases did. The coronavirus is likely going to continue to spread. The authorities are likely going to employ similar containment strategies in other countries like the U.S., as has already been used in China and Italy, like mandatory quarantines and spraying disinfectant chemicals in the streets and in public places. We are likely to see continued disruption of normalcy and the cancellation of festivals and sporting events. South by Southwest was already canceled with this year, which is a massive music festival, and we've already seen the postponement of many Serie A soccer matches in Italy. Other sporting events both in Europe and the US are being played without spectators, and we're going to see a lot more of this. We're likely, sadly, going to see the Olympics canceled this year. My prediction is that things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. What is likely to be worse than the virus itself is the response from the authorities. From what we have seen so far, the death rate for the coronavirus seems to be around 2%, which is about 20 times the estimated death rate for the seasonal flu. However, the true death rate could actually be much lower because it's likely that the number of people that they're accounting for is just a small portion of the actual number of people around the planet who have contracted the virus. Because likely there's a lot more people who have only had mild symptoms and recovered without ever knowing they had the coronavirus, the COVID-19. And they just never went to a hospital or a doctor to be treated. So we wouldn't have those statistics. So it's likely that the death rate is actually much lower. But we've already seen a pandemic of fear spreading across the collective, and perhaps this in itself is in reality the larger intention of the engineered illness. These people think in terms of problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem, then then the people react pretty much as they are told to react through the largely scripted media. The rhetoric tends to be about the same wherever you look in the media. The engineered reaction demands the solution that they desire to implement, which is always more control. And then there's a vast amount of money to be made in implementing more control. Hint, think of what's just was given to the pharmaceutical industry by the U.S. government, wink, wink. We don't have to play their game. We can prepare for the worst and still go about our lives without fear. The more fear, the more likely it is on an energetic level that the virus itself is going to continue to spread like wildfire, because fear lowers the immune system, and one of the laws of life is that whatever you fear is likely to stay put, grow, or test you in some way, big or small. With billions of people fearing the same thing, it's only going to give the virus further strength. The powers that be know this. My prediction is that the collective hysteria is going to peak from April through June, and by midsummer the spread of the virus will slow down as the collective builds a natural immunity. We have a conjunction between two planets that can wreak havoc coming on March 30th between Mars and Saturn. They meet in Aquarius, an air sign. It could represent a mass spread of something through the air, like the virus. With Pluto going retrograde in Capricorn starting on April 25th, I predict that we are going to see a major economic recession beginning this summer, due partially to the effects of this virus. For those in the United States, I predict that most people won't see a huge change, at least right away. I don't think we're going to see food shortages here in the U.S. What's clearly going to be affected, and which is already being affected, are items coming from China. The recession could coincide with Uranus going retrograde in Taurus beginning August 15th of this year. We probably see a lot of volatility in the currency markets between the summer of 2020 and 2023. The U.S. dollar could become subject to rapid inflation. We could see products becoming more expensive than before. I don't think it's going to be like Venezuela. However, we could see inflation. We will see if the government will be able to hold off a huge economic collapse and patch things up like they've done before, and if we can have more of a subtle downturn, or if it will truly be the transition that has been prophesied where we head into a cryptocurrency-based economy. I'm really not sure how quickly it's all going to happen. Pluto is in Capricorn until 2024. It could all happen by then. It could, or it could take a little bit longer. Well, we will see. Practically speaking, I do think it is a good idea to keep at least half of an eye on what's going on, and do stock up on some food and essentials if things start getting really weird in your area. And you'll probably have some sort of a warning in your area if things start to get really out of control, with the virus and with the response. Italy has been, if you're listening to this on the day or a few days after we publish it, Italy has been kind of on red alert for a few days or a week. So you won't have a lot of time to prepare if necessary, but if things get weird, yeah, I mean, be smart about it, Be smart about it. But the number one thing I would recommend to do is to support your immune system with things like ionic silver, number one, elderberry, echinacea, cat's claw, vitamin C, etc. Hint, ionic silver can be cheaply made on your own. It may not be as high quality, depending on the type of silver generator you get, but it's better than nothing, and it's a lot cheaper. And the colloidal and ionic silvers and silver hydrosols may go up in price as there's more demand for it, because I do think a lot more people are going to become aware, perhaps even through social media, that silver is really effective against viruses, because it is. Okay? Elderberry, echinacea, cat's claw, vitamin C, etc. These are all great, and, disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, healthcare professional. Please consult your doctor or healthcare professional before taking any new supplement. Practically speaking, this is what we should do. And ionic silver, another disclaimer, there is a risk of argyria, which means your skin turns blue. That only happens if you take a ridiculous amount of it for a long period of time. So just don't take more than 2 ounces a day, and you'll be fine, most likely. Again, just consult with a doctor or healthcare professional, because I am not either of those. Also, as I said, fear lowers the immune system. Now that you know that this thing is likely not going to slow down anytime soon, how peaceful are you able to stay through the collective chaos? How deeply are you able to breathe in spite of all the weird news and talks of quarantines and death rates? Everything is temporary, and this too shall pass. Money is temporary. Debt is temporary. Food is temporary. Relationships are temporary. Even your body is temporary. You don't own anything. You're just borrowing all of it. You're even just borrowing your body for the time being while you're in this physical vessel. The immune system takes care of pathogens all day long. They're temporary, they come and go, and your body deals with them the best that it can. So boost your immune system. So is there a reason to be prepared? Yes, there is. Is there a reason to be fearful? No, absolutely not. Fear only feeds the agenda. Fear only feeds the virus. Fear only feeds the economic downturn. Love and peace are the vibrations we need even more of now. As I spoke about earlier, don't let all of this stop you from creating your highest possible future. Even with the potential for an economic downturn over the next couple of years, it likely won't happen as catastrophically as it could. It's just, and I'm going to talk about why in a moment, but either way, we shouldn't let what could happen ahead stop us from what we want to create, because we're here creating the future. You see, we want to create that highest possible future. And although there may be astrological aspects that we can't control, there may be things that are planned out that we can't control, the more that we are optimistic and the more that we're visualizing that highest possible future, both individually and collectively, the more likely it is that it'll manifest in a much smoother way. And that's what we want. That's what we want. I do believe that, as has been happening since the harmonic convergence of 1986, the collective consciousness of humanity will continue to choose the highest timeline of ascension. On this highest timeline, things happen more smoothly than in other parallel timelines where perhaps cataclysms have occurred or would occur. I do believe that the vast majority of people on the planet will get to choose ascension. Many of these souls are unawakened starseeds. Many are new souls that come from Alcyone directly into our solar system. Many of these new souls will be awakening over the next 2 decades as well. The fear and control system will continue to fight for its life like an injured wild animal. Our mission is to continue to spread love, joy, peace, healing, and information. The power of the people is the true power of the planet. We absolutely have the support of the higher councils of Christ and extraterrestrials like the Pleiadians, Sirians, Arcturians, the Essassani, and more. We have the support of the archangelic realm. We really do. The thing is that they can only intervene to the extent that we ask them to intervene collectively. And right now, collectively, we are very much stuck in the middle of a battle between light and dark. Although the ascension has already been completed in the context of no time, what we see manifest in our collective timeline is the fun part that we're seeing playing out on our television and laptop screens. Please remember to disconnect and spend time in nature, especially when you feel fear. Nature will always comfort and caress your deepest self. Make sure to drink ample clean water and get a lot of sunlight. I ask everyone to visualize some violet light cleansing the areas that are hit the hardest by the virus right now, like China, Italy, and South Korea, and in Iran, and to send white and golden light out to every corner of the planet in order to nourish all humans with peace, joy, abundance on all levels. Another thing you can do is visualizing shields around yourself, visualizing a protective violet shield around yourself when you go out, an extra immune barrier, and visualizing an extra violet shield around your house as well. Wishing you a happy full moon in Virgo, and be at peace. With love, Matthew John. If you're not familiar with who I am by now, I am a spiritual teacher, spiritual healer, intuitive healer, Starseed guide, quantum energy healer, international speaker. I've been on an over, 11, 12-year awakening journey now, and I've been working with people one-on-one since 2013. It's been, almost 8 years now. So, and I'd love for you to check out my website if you want to know more about me and see what I offer. It's really simple. It's youaredivinehuman.org, youaredivinehuman.org, and you can check out my entire library of free videos and articles, and also my worldwide private sessions. I do work with people one-on-one. I've worked with people in over 50 countries around the world and growing. And what I'm doing right now is enrolling some new people for my very popular spiritual mentoring program to get started this month. I do have openings to get started this month. I don't always have openings right away, but I do for this month, so we can get started even within a week or so. And so here's what you get. I'm just going to go over real briefly what you get in the spiritual mentoring program. It's a 4, 5, 6, or longer session program. The first session, we do an extended soul plan reading, which is I'm connecting in with your spirit guides and also my guides, reading your life plan, reading your karmic relationships. What are you meant to learn from your karmic relationships? I read your future. What are you meant to manifest here on this planet? What are you meant to bring forth? Who are you meant to be? What is your service work? What type of light worker are you? What type of starseed are you? I'm going to answer every question you might have in this reading. In the second session, we do a powerful quantum energy healing session with a soul retrieval, an inner child healing, and an unhealthy attachment purging ceremony. It's kind of a shamanic session, and we work with the angelic realm and the archangelic realm to clean out all of your chakras, clean out all sorts of memories of trauma and cellular damages and chakra injuries, and clean anything from your aura you might not want there, like etheric parasites and all sorts of weird stuff like that. I'm going to get it all out of there, get you all squeaky clean energetically and feeling really good. People always report feeling great after this session. And it lasts. I mean, I've seen really remarkable results with people, especially like people with abundance issues, things like that. Third session, we do a medical intuitive reading. Okay, so this is I'm tuning in with my guides. I'm doing a body scan for your body. We're going to go over any relevant symptoms you might have. I'm not a doctor, of course, but what I am going to do is just give you a sense of what I feel is going on in your body energetically, and give you some recommendations that you can run by your doctor, healthcare professional, as far as supplements, nutraceuticals, herbs, maybe even homeopathic remedies, anything like that that could help you. Okay? And food, diet. What's the best diet for you? What types of meditations are going to help you? What are the metaphysical roots of anything you might be dealing with? Fourth session. Oh, and you're going to get, I almost forgot, you're going to get an 8 to 12 page intuitive nutrition protocol with that. It's super helpful. You can keep it with you as a resource forever. And we're also going to do a chakra scan. In that same session, I'm going to give you a 1 to 3 page chakra report with affirmations and other suggestions for healing your chakras. Fourth session, we do a Starseed discovery session. You're going to find out what type of Starseed you are, if you are a Starseed, where you come from in this galaxy or even out of this galaxy. What is your soul's purpose? What is your soul's galactic lineage? And you're going to get to take a journey there to your home planet. And it's absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely freaking fantastic. People will usually cry and experience all sorts of emotions. You get an activation from your galactic guides. It really is going home on the deepest level. Putting the past in the past webinar, Mastering Your Intuition webinar, and Spiritual Hygiene, Cord Cutting, and Grounding 101 webinars. They're all about 2 hours, and they are included with this package as a bonus. You can do those on your own. You get spiritual homework to do between each session, simple little exercises that are going to help you to improve your life in every way. Unlimited email support from me in between sessions. You can email me 7 times a week or 1 time a week or none. It's totally up to you. And that's all included in Package A. Package B has all that, plus a 2-hour past life regression session. You're going to be traveling with an astral journey to your most relevant past lives that your higher self wants you to see. And we ask the higher self to guide you, and it always works like a charm. And you're going to experience what is the karma that you're balancing from those particular past lifetimes, and you're going to get to see the karmic relationships from those past lifetimes. It's a very hands-on experience, and it really helps you understand your life on a very deep level. Package C, you get all that, plus a 1 hour and 10-minute future life progression session. You get to travel forward in time into your future in this lifetime, 1, 5, 10, 20 years or beyond, to see your highest possible future and feel it. It's a very hands-on experience that will definitely give you a sense of hope. And you'll definitely see that the world is not ending, even with all this coronavirus stuff and the economic downturn. It's just a stage. This too shall pass. The ascension is occurring. Most of us are going to be here for the long haul, okay? So, but you get to see what is your personal trajectory firsthand, okay? And Package C, you also get a bunch of other webinars to do on your own. A deeper level of forgiveness, awakening divine masculine, navigating the dark night of the soul, dissolving the ego. And there's also Package D, which offers extended optimization coaching on top of all of the previous packages. So you can check out the options for that on my website. Scroll your mouse over private sessions. Click on the first tab. It says spiritual mentoring packages. Okay, click on that. Check out the options. If the packages don't work for you, there is also the option to do any of these types of sessions individually. Okay, and there's different options for that, and you can book that right from my website. If you have any questions about the packages, about the full moon, you want to ask me about the coronavirus, you want to ask me an astrology question, you want to ask me a personal question, I don't mind answering brief personal questions about you, as long as it's something that doesn't require full reading. If it does require full reading, I'll just tell you that it would require reading. But it doesn't hurt to ask. Just the easiest way to get in touch with me, I'm so easy to get in touch with. Go to my website, bottom right corner of the screen. You're going to see a little tab pop up. It says Matthew John, have questions, ask Matthew. Click on that tab, type in your question and your correct email address. I'll get back to you definitely within 24 hours. And another thing, I just did a fantastic Mastery Empowerment course on Saturday. It was awesome. It was called How to Move On Completely from Your Ex. And I led there were a lot of people on that call, and a lot of people have already told me they listened to the replay, and people really, really loved it. It is all about soul contracts and karma between lovers. We talk about karmic soulmates versus twin flames versus karmic twins. What does it all mean? We talk about soul fragmentation, how that happens during a breakup. We talk about the other energetic things that are going on when a breakup occurs. We're talking about narcissistic empathic relationships. We're talking about why women especially tend to find themselves in those, how to move on from that, how to stop attracting broken people and start attracting healed people, how to attract your true twin flame if you desire, how to meet someone much better than your ex next time, and especially how to move on completely. That's the whole point of it. And through the understanding, that is the first part of helping you move on. And then the second part is I do a group cord cutting, soul contract reviewing, and soul retrieval process to energetically end the relationship and allow you to move on for good into freedom, grace, and gratitude. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes. It's only $33 US. It was really, really an awesome webinar. If you're going through a breakup, you might be going through a breakup. You just went through a breakup. You had a breakup 10 years ago that you still haven't gotten over, and I feel you because it took me about 9 to 10 years to get over mine. So if any of that applies to you, or even if you have a loved one or a friend who's going through that right now, please check out this webinar. It's only $33. You're going to learn a lot, and you can pass that information on to friends around you. Okay, so go to my website. If you want to check out the webinar, just click on webinars and events, and it's the first thing up there. All right, everyone, thank you so much. Again, any questions for me, I'd love to hear from all of you. Please comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything that's going on in the world right now and about this full moon. I'd love to hear from you Virgos, of course. I like when people say hi when it's their moon, right? So let's have the Virgos say hi. And even we're still, of course, in Pisces season. All my Pisces people can say hi as well. And I look forward to speaking to all of you again on the new moon coming up in a fortnight. So with love, this has been Matthew John.